I'm Jennifer August. I'm a board-certified clinical art therapist in practice, stationed. My private practice is in Lewes, Delaware, in a little office above the Cape Gazette by Nassau Valley Vineyards. The past year and a half, my business has kind of gone on the road, almost like a traveling doctor, traveling vet, road warrior kind of thing. And that's been really important in Sussex County. I'm not sure we normally think of our county this way. I know we know it's very diverse, but it's actually the biggest county east of the Mississippi. So for me, I start out, at the beach, and then, for example, this afternoon, again, this week, I'll travel to the far western corner of the county to provide mental health services. So my kind of outreaching and working lots of different places has really increased children, teens, and adults' access to quality mental health care. Art therapy is a recognized mental health profession. To be an art therapist, you have to go through graduate training in art therapy, and the first training program is almost 50 years old. And there are, lots of quality training programs. It's interesting having trained in Philadelphia and worked there for a long time. When I moved to Rehoboth Beach over 20 years ago, people aren't really aware of art therapy or know its implications. Right now in Delaware, there are 3 board-certified art therapists, which is interesting because the training programs are really wonderful in Pennsylvania, in Maryland, and Virginia. So, and we're a tiny tri-county state, so maybe that's not so unusual. Let me show you, being a therapist that combines nonverbal and verbal, I find it's always better to show than to tell, or maybe do some combination of both. So I'm going to show you some of the artwork that folks have made. And I'm just going to whistle through these. So hopefully you get a sense of what types of communication can be expressed. The first thing you might notice is, hey, it's not about artwork. You don't have to be a good artist to express yourself. One of the most expressive ones may have been this little stick figure, this one. That readily communicates how that person was feeling. The cool thing about the artwork is it not only allows the really quick and easy expression of difficult things to say or things people just don't know how to say or how they're feeling, or deep bona fide secrets. The information comes out almost whether or not you're trying to put it out there. And that's part of an art therapist training. It's almost like being, when you go to a good mechanic, when you roll up, they can kind of tell what's wrong with your car already, and you're kind of in the dark, they kind of already know. So there's an art to it in the broader sense of art. I'm not like an art teacher that ever teaches people how to express themselves. The great thing about the artwork is it is the evidence. It shows in that moment where that person is. And when I pull out their series of artwork, when people have worked with me for a little while, it's like a lasting testament of their progress. Typically in my private practice, I work with people very briefly because the artwork, in my view, and a lot of the folks I work with tends to speed things along because so much comes out and then you can manage it. And to be honest with you, most people I work with really do their work, do really good work, and get on with things. So, that's wonderful. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about what I've been doing recently. I am now hired through a Highmark grant to go to 5 Boys and Girls Clubs throughout the county to provide mental health care right on site there. which has been tremendous. It started maybe 6 weeks ago, and already we have over 200 children whose parents have signed them up for bona fide therapy, which means I go there and I can see 15 to 35 kids individually or in a series of focus theme groups. And focus theme groups might be body safety, strong girls groups, bullying, trying to make friends groups, respecting your parents so you don't get hurt groups. I mean that broadly. I mean, you know, kid safety is very big. I don't mean to be disrespectful the way I'm saying that, but to make sure the kids are safe and doing well. The benefit of these programs being after school, in addition to the parents not needing to take off work, find a provider or pay, or grab their kid and run. The other benefit is it is after school, so you know the children get to remain in school. A lot of our vulnerable kids don't do so well in school because their minds are on other things, they didn't eat well, they're worried their clothes don't measure up, things like that. So, you know, seeing them after school and me going to them has really been wonderful. And, you know, typically when I see kids in my private practice, I'll see them, it's not my favorite to see them at the end of the day because they're tired. I'll see them early in the day on the weekend. So that has been, you know, a recent advancement. Trying to think about what else is new. Sometimes organizations hire me to do focus theme groups for like an organization like the Multiple Sclerosis Society might have me do a team building group. My own professional organizations I've presented nationally and regionally, and you know, I'll either do an academic presentation on a topic or you know, do practice issues, you know, have them make artwork about opportunities, dilemmas, you know, in their own work, things like that. So it's very hands-on and dynamic. Do you have a sense of what art therapy is from me speaking? Okay. Yes?
Oh, excuse me, we're going to go ahead and shift to the Q&A if that's okay
Yes.
with you. So I'm going to pass the mic around.
Thank you.
We need that for the recording.
Okay, so what would it be like for adults? I'm sort of feel for what you do with kids. How do you work with adults?
The creative process and the clinical engagement process is exactly the same with adults as kids. They come to me and talk about what's holding them back, where they want to go, and we try and figure out what has happened, what their resources are, you know, personally, how far I can stretch them and how quickly. And if, you know, if they have family members that they rely on as a support system to help them initiate and you know, expand to change, basically. You know, how can I engage them, or are those resources not there? It's basically the same process. I hope when I went through the slideshow, you were not able easily to tell the artwork from a grown-up, from a teenager, from a kid. And I'll tell you from the artwork we saw, the range of problems that you saw, trying to think, were Tourette's disorder, 4 or 5 sexual abuse, a couple of physical abuse, 1 instance of alcohol-induced dementia, 1 pedophile, 1 bulimic, 1 very codependent person who was, you know, very much in pain and kind of frozen because of that. 1 newly divorced person who, after lots of years of marriage, kind of moved to the beach and was trying to start anew. Trying to think what else from what I showed you. But there's a big range. The other thing is, because people, you can chart people's natural development through the artwork. In other words, if you give a 2-year-old art materials, they'll eat them. Okay? So I can't work with anybody younger than about 3. By 3, they're starting to make images. And just like you see a baby go from lying to sitting to crawling to standing to walking to running to driving, you know, there's a natural progression. The artwork also progresses. So with the artwork, you shouldn't be able to, and I have more clear-cut examples on what I'm talking about now. You shouldn't be able to tell, in other words, I may have a grown-up drawing like a 5-year-old. Okay, so then I would wonder about cognitive deficits, neurodevelopmental disabilities, things like that. So it's not that you can't draw, you draw like a 3-year-old at all. Okay, it tells me something very important. You never get a 3-year-old drawing like a 15-year-old. Okay, so that tells you something really important. It's either developmental or an emotional impediment that you're seeing. You have a question?
Several years ago, I was part of an organizational development team building, and this was one of the processes. They had each of us, and it was a fairly large group, each of us had to draw that day, at that time, exactly how we were feeling about ourselves. So I share with you the success of the program, and I think it's actually could be used more than I've seen it used here lately. Now, with that, I'd like to know about the confidentiality issues that are associated with your work, and in particular, when you see a troubled individual and that confidentiality issue with respect to how you deal with it.
Well, issues of confidentiality are always governed by state law. Okay, so there are state laws that determine what needs to happen in terms of if someone is unsafe or writing about suicide, expressing an intent, a plan to hurt themselves, another person. That's not my decision. The past 2 years there are new state laws in terms of body safety. If a child tells me, there's sex play in the community housing development, if certain requirements are met, I have to report that. It's not a question of trying to keep a kid out of trouble or, that's a mandatory reporting requirement. Most of the work I do is completely confidential, but, there are other reporting requirements. And if I can speak to what you said earlier, I have done art therapy is one thing I do. In terms of innovation, I do lots of different things using people's image making. So it's corporate team building, it's graphic design, it's STEM plus art programs and camps to use images to help people innovate and change. And it's all identity work, from the personal to the organizational level. Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Jennifer, I have a question.
Yes.
So when you work with the kids as you do with the Boys and Girls Clubs, what level of parental involvement is there before or after?
It's been wonderful. It's been a really kind of free-form process. I meet the parents and offer the free program to them, and so they get to see the person that will be working with their child and make a decision and decide if their child needs that kind of care. I'm happy that most of the parents I work with know that it's therapy, it's not art class. For example, I wrote a grant into the Boys and Girls Club program all summer long last year through a FACES grant from the Freeman Foundation. And we had about 75% of the children sign up for the art therapy program. And through the last week, they were still signing up and no kids unenrolled. So the parental involvement, it's interesting. A lot of parents are happy to let their children have the quality care and make those changes on their own, almost like they would see a school counselor and then start doing their homework and, get along better with their sister or something like that, or speaking up more for themselves. I do make an effort at the end of the day to meet with parents and engage them. Sometimes I get children, to me it seems readily evident they may have been sexually abused at like 6 or 7, and then by 10 they're in an alternative school. And so, my goal is to change that justice for the child, and I can't change it unless the kid does well. And so to re-engage the parent, to make sure they're there and know what our plan is. So, yeah.
I have to ask about your business side of your business and the fascinating business that you have. Could too? Do you have to deal with insurances, and what does that bring to the table?
Yeah, my business plan is non-linear. It's free-form, like I'm speaking now. I'm one person in the business. I'm the only one who is trained and can do this service in my business. I'm employee of the month every month. It works for me, it makes me feel good. So I haven't had to go for funding, you know. So it's kind of casual that way. Art therapists in 5 states are eligible as soon as they pass the board certification exam, which in my view is like the medical boards. It's not, you know, as art therapists, we're kind of earning our ranks in some people's view among psychologists. I don't believe that because I see the immediate value of it. And but that board certification exam, a few states recognize and license you as soon as you pass that. Delaware does not directly license art therapists, and because I've worked in a small private practice, I have not accumulated all the hours needed for licensure. And so within a time frame, a tight time frame, you need to do that. So now with driving all over the county, I'm racking up hours for that. So right now I don't take insurance. I don't know if I'm eligible with licensure at some point if I would. For my practice, I wouldn't. To probably help people I would see, I would. So that's a business decision to be made. Yeah.
Are you an LLC to begin with?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jennifer, what can we as a community do to help the art therapy way?
I guess keep an open mind. There are different ways to do the work I do. And that's why my business is called the Art Therapy Way. I see the value in it. And I'm not sure what else you can do. I mean, if you have people in your lives that you know there's something there that hasn't been spoken, they can't talk about it, they may not even know. They're overachieving underachievers, or you know, or vice versa. You know, you may think about referring them. But the other thing is the work tends to move very quickly.